Cars and affordability. Welcome back to Techstination. I'm Fred Fishkin. With us from GM's CarBravo program is Senior Manager John Fitzpatrick. Hi, John.
Hi, Fred. Thank you for having me.
A pleasure to see you. And what are we seeing in the market today when it comes to consumers and car shopping?
Well, it's an interesting dynamic right now. Obviously, new car prices are up, but there's still a lot of good opportunities out there for customers, looking for that next vehicle. And, for GM, it's been, a situation where, we still have plenty of new vehicles out there for under $30,000, 8 different models. In the used market, those prices are up a little bit, but there's still a lot of tremendous value and opportunities out there for customers. And really, that's in my mind what affordability is about. It's about giving the customers opportunities to find vehicles that fit both their lifestyle and their budget.
And people are looking, I assume, as we always are, to get the best vehicle we can for the money that we have. So many are turning to the certified used vehicles. They've got the tighter budgets today, right?
They do. They definitely do. And certified used is a great alternative because it gives the customer the peace of mind that the vehicle has been inspected. It has met a OEM criteria for, a standard for that used vehicle. It's been reconditioned. It's been provided with a warranty so that if there is any issues, you can bring the vehicle back and get that vehicle covered under warranty. So there's a lot of great things that a certified used will provide a customer.
So what should people look at and compare when they're weighing new versus used and they say, okay, I've got this much money, 20,000, 25, 30,000. What
Yeah,
should
they
they be
should
looking at?
they should definitely look at, what is goes into the cost of the car. And it's not just the vehicle price. It's, the insurance. There is, the fuel costs. There's just daily commuting and such. They need to understand, okay, what do I need for my lifestyle? Do I have a family? Do I need a crossover, or do I need something smaller because it's only me driving to and from my, place of work. So those are things that they need to sit down and talk about and figure out, okay, what exactly do I need and want out of this vehicle? And then once they know that, then they can start doing some budget planning and look at, vehicle prices. Because when you look at vehicle prices, what you don't really ever capture is, okay, yeah, the price is this, but if I buy the vehicles, I'm going to have an interest payment. If I lease a vehicle, I'm going to have, some lease costs. And so you need to, see, how that all works into a figure. And the good news is sites like carbravo.com have, mechanisms so you can put a price in and see what a potential monthly payment would be. So, you have a little more knowledge when you go into the dealership and have a conversation about trying to find that vehicle that fits a budget.
And today consumers have more choices. EVs are in the picture now. Tell us how
Yeah,
they figure
EVs
in.
are EVs are a great alternative for a lot of consumers out there. EVs. A few years ago there was a big push to get customers to get into an EV, and a lot of them leased them at that point. Now those leases are coming due, so that's going to put a lot of those EVs into the used car marketplace. And what we found, or what we're seeing in that market, is that EVs are coming back at a tremendous value to the customer. They're looking at a vehicle that was significantly higher price than what they'd be buying it as a used vehicle. Usually has a lower mileage because it was only used for 10, 12, 15,000 miles a year. So you see that it's great value in just some mileage on the vehicle. And then the battery life, to be honest with you, we're seeing in at least the GM products, the battery is exceeding expectation in terms of of the life lost from the battery. Like anything, is the more miles and the way you drive, whether it's an ICE or an EV, basically impacts what that vehicle will be like in the future. And in our case, we're seeing a lot of good news on the battery front, seeing that the battery is really good shape when it gets back. And that's good news because in a lot of cases, there are warranties on the battery, about 8 years, 100,000 miles, that you transfer with the vehicle. So the used car buyer would get the remaining part of that EV battery warranty if they bought one of these used EVs.
And there's a lot of stuff in internal combustion engine, which is what the ICE stands for. Um,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of stuff in the EVs that they don't have to worry about that they would with an internal combustion engine.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about lifters or transmissions or things like that. So, the EVs do have some great advantages there. And I'm sure, Fred, if you ever got to drive one, I'm sure you have, the EVs are just so much, quieter, that instant torque when you accelerate, just a lot more fun to drive in some cases compared to its ICE counterpart.
When people are buying used, I guess one of the big worries is, hey, I don't want to get stuck with somebody else's headache here. So tell us
Mhm.
about warranties, service coverage. What should people know and look for?
Well, certified use it's designed to alleviate a lot of that. A customer who goes on CarBravo.com, for example, they can see a Carfax report, so they get an understanding that the vehicle has either been in an accident or if there was a major damage being hidden somewhere. They also get to see the inspection report for that vehicle. We put out there a 127-point inspection for the store to complete on the vehicle, and they can see exactly how it graded out on that inspection report and whether they had to replace tires or if they had to do anything with the vehicle. Now they know, okay, the vehicle has been reconditioned, and so they have that reassurance that this is a pretty good used car. Then on top of that, in the case of CarBravo, we go and add a 12 limited bumper to bumper warranty on the younger used cars, up to 10 years old. So now they have reassurance that, okay, if I have a problem and, I need to bring it back to the store, I can either bring it back to the selling store, usually it's a Chevy, Buick, or GMC store, or to any Chevy, Buick, or GMC store across the country. So that's 4,000 different service centers, that are GM dealers that you can bring that CarBravo unit back to. So a lot of reassurance, peace of mind that I'm getting a quality used vehicle from that store when I use the CarBravo program or any certified program.
Tell us a bit more about CarBravo and how it works.
So CarBravo is kind of a new take on the certified pre-owned program. Traditionally a certified pre-owned program for an OEM will just cover, things that OEM sells. So Toyota, for example, it would be, a RAV4, a Camry, a Corolla, a Tundra would be the only thing you could get under a certified program. For CarBravo, we looked at it as, well, our dealers sell more than just a Chevy, a Buick, a GMC. They also sell Ford, Hondas, Toyotas, Hyundais. We wanted to give them the opportunity to give the customer reassurance that the vehicle meets a standard and they get a warranty. So CarBravo takes to the traditional CPO and applies it basically to to almost every make and model out there. Now, there are some units that are not covered. Anything that's been, a performance model, some of the high-end luxury vehicles are not covered, but anything that's been modified aftermarket wise is not covered. But that almost every make and model. So when you go in and you buy that Toyota, that Honda, that Ford from our dealers, you still get the same 12/12 base warranty that is basically added on to the existing OEM warranty. So let's say it had a year left on its warranty. we would add that 1212 to it. So you would end up with, basically a 24/24 warranty on that vehicle. So again, just peace of mind knowing that I'm covered and I can go to almost any GM dealer and get that vehicle repaired.
What about the use of online sites for buying today, and people looking to save money that way? What should they know?
Yeah, so there's a lot of different places you can go shopping. And you can find CarBravo units on things like Auto Traders, Cars.com, CarGuru. But we have our own site, CarBravo.com, that lists all the vehicles that are certified, and customers can actually, look up the vehicles, see again that Carfax report, that inspection report. They can initiate the transaction on that site, and they can, do a lot of the paperwork before they even go into the store to put their hand on the vehicle and do a test drive. Some that's a little bit different than some of our competitors where, you don't really see the vehicle until they deliver it to you. You can actually go in and visit with the dealer and again, do a test drive and make sure, what you're buying is what really fits your budget and your lifestyle.
Terrific. Again, the site is carbravo.com. John Fitzpatrick, thank you so much for spending time with us.
Thanks, Fred. I greatly appreciate it.
The Haven 10,000 lantern is a smartly designed, beautiful solar light that you will love indoors or out. It is waterproof with up to 1,200 lumens of brightness. That's a lot of light. And the base becomes a flashlight at the push of a button. The power comes from a built-in lithium-ion battery recharged by the sun. The solar panel is built in, or USB-C. The battery can even recharge your phone. Did we mention how durable it is? How it folds down and can run for up to 120 hours on a charge? But the real power of the Haven Lantern comes from the people behind it and their mission to provide this quality lighting to those in the world who need it most, including in disaster emergencies. Your purchase helps to fund those efforts, and if you use the code TEXTINATION20, you'll get it at a 20% discount. That's TEXTINATION20 at havenlantern.com. Create your haven.